back at you at the home of Mark, which we're very excited to get a few minutes of his time. I've known Mark now for over 30 years, believe it or not, and that's where I first started learning karate and etc. Mark's the person we want to hear from in regards to our self-defense lifestyle that we talk about, being more aware of what's going on in the world, and then what can we learn and what can we do to help be defenders and survive in a crazy world. And so, Mark, thanks for being with me today.
Yeah, it's great to be with you.
Yeah, so take us back a little bit, if you don't mind. You know, I met you in the 80s, but you were already working out when you were in high school.
Oh yeah, we had to lift weights for wrestling, just like you had to. And after high school, after I got married, she fed me so good, I was able to put on 100 pounds. When we were at the class reunion, they gave an award, funny thing, of who gained the most weight, and a lot of the girls started to cringe and wanted to run for the doors, but I saved the day because I gained the most.
But now we're not just talking about you know, any old weight. It was muscle class.
Yeah, it was.
Good. And because now, do you stay in shape because it's healthy, or do you think of staying in shape because it's at any moment you could be called to step in and do something?
It became both. At first it was just health, just like you would, you know, lift weights. But I discovered a lot of things were wrong in lifting weights. Getting to have a lot of students, you see just about every ailment that there could be. And people are lifting wrong and injuring themselves left and right. I did get to teach a lot of professionals, several Green Bay Packers through the years, different people that are professionals. And in working with them, their trainers would contact me and beg me not to have them stretch out so much. They wanted them a little bit tighter so that they don't get injured. And how could stretching out be bad? I mean, a lot of the things that I went through with Taekwondo and all the other ones, that we had tremendous stretching, and we were overdoing it. So things had to change. And so it was through the years that I got higher ranking and enough people to try things out on and see their progress. I had quite a few doctors that took lessons from me and with their children and working around their ailments. When I did that stretching at the end, which I didn't do with you yet, that's right. There's a move in there that I didn't know if we had to do it for your hip. We see what your hip can do. One of the doctors told me, oh, when you do this move and you keep stretching that out in your hip, you'll never have to have a hip replacement. He actually said that. And my mother had you know, hip replacement. My wife's full family had hip replacements and things. And I noticed, just like some students, you lay in bed and you start to get that ache in that hip. And if you could right away just do this stretching move that I did when I was laying on the floor there, where you pull your knee up and you leave it dig into that hip and then relax to leave your sacrum come down and just hold it there 30 seconds or so, and you can do the other one. So you're always balanced. The trouble of people being one-sided, they'll work too much with one leg and they'll get back trouble. They'll have trouble because you're too much in one. It's like lifting weights with one side, you know how dumb that would be. And people are always doing that, always fighting right-handed or left-handed. But if you have to, you have to. So this year, ache that people were having in bed actually went away with this exercise, that they could do this. And it seems to run in our family. I didn't need it yet. None of my brothers did yet. But this thing takes away the ache that I can lay in bed and I don't get no ache. If one comes along, I do that stretch and it's done. And you can do that stretch. It's not hyperextending anything. So you could probably do it 3-4 times a day, as often as you want. And it actually gets circulation going in there. It helps. You know, so check with your doctor. These stretches are great.
We'll go through those again. I'm glad you came up with them. So if we go back into the 80s, it was a different world. I mean, you had tough guys coming out of the woodwork and trying to show their toughness. I mean, today it's probably as bad, in fact, different, maybe because media brings it out. But you grew up in kind of a, I don't know, tough area, would you say? I mean,
No, not where I grew up. No, I had a great family. My father was very good as a role model for me. Have control of your tongue. You know, you don't cuss and swear, and he wasn't a booze hound or anything like that. You know, and so very good that way. And brothers, we all learn from each other. You know, beating up on each other different ways. You know, yeah, that all helps. But no. There were a lot of challenges. Even kung fu fighting came out when I had one of my other schools, and people started wanting to challenge you, and it's like Top Gun. It's like, what the heck, you know? You go into school to teach a bunch of students, and you got ladies and gentlemen and professionals and people you care about, and in comes this psychotic son of a gun. I was talking before, I had the opportunity to fight several guys that said they were wolfmen. You know, they actually believed they were wolfmen. And then several guys that were, you know, thought they were vampires. And I was saying one guy thought he was John Lennon, a Beatle, you know, but he was the karate John Lennon. He wanted to fight. And several Bruce Lees, they wanted to fight. Just craziness like that. And they really believed it. Different people had trees and rocks and things talking to them, saying that they need to come over and fight. So they just needed their medication adjusted, you know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's dangerous for the other students being there. One thing I did as I progressed, I didn't allow any. I didn't want any children to take this, because they should take volleyball and you know, things that are fun with kids. This can be a discipline, you know, learn some self-respect and all kinds of things. That's why I shouldn't cut down the other karate schools so much, as they are helping the kids in that, and they're really not learning anything too dangerous, you know, because what they learn isn't a real war fashion of doing anything. There are a few times I had children come. One good story, like we were Christian outreach, the neighboring priest brought down and begged down. He came down by the studio when I was there, and he brought down mother and child. The kid was 12, 13 years old. And I said, well, I don't take kids. And he begged me, he said, problems at home, they want to do this. What a well-behaved kid he was. So I said, okay. And within the first couple of nights, after class, guys would stay over and we'd talk, and a lot of times it's about the Lord and about scriptures. And at the time I was really getting into the scriptures to know a little bit what I'm doing, that I could do some counseling, not like after years and years of doing it. And a couple nights went by, and this kid that I'm talking about, I won't say his name, came down and he said, Mark, I did everything you said, and I just want to ask you a few questions. I said, oh, what did I say? You know, I'm thinking of karate. And he said, no. And he was talking about, you know, something in 1 Timothy and something in the Gospels, you know, in John. And I said, when did you hear me say that? He said, well, when you're talking to that other fella, and I was in the locker room trying to figure out how to take my uniform off, he said. And he said, that night I went home and I prayed and I came to the Lord, and I'm making my mom and everybody sit down around the coffee table, and I got that big Bible, you know, that everybody just writes their names in. He said, and I'm using that, he's carrying that big Bible around. And talk about Lord led. That's why I spent time on this story. It wasn't a matter, within a month. He was there almost every night, and wonderful, a blessing to have met him. His mother came down crying and wanted to talk to me right away. This boy was walking home from school and had a brain aneurysm and fell over dead. Like the Lord had him come down to the karate school and learn of the Lord before his demise, and he was buried in his karate uniform and with his Bible, you know, overhearing, you know, in Luke, you know, those who confess me before my Father, confess me before men, I will confess me before my Father, and those who won't, I won't. So take upon you my yoke and learn of me. For my yoke is easy, burden is light. You don't know. Someone's overhearing and what happens. So it's not just physical. And so many times in the martial arts, you got to have physical things going on, but then you'll sit down and you might do transcendental meditation, you might do all kinds of things that are wrong, and we always had you pray, but you are a spirit. You live in this body, and you've got to take care of. They got to both be healthy.
Yeah, that's what I like to talk about. Is I think it's a lifestyle. It's
Yeah.
how you're eating, how you're working out, how you're then being more aware, all because we are guys and we're protectors of family and loved ones, and so it's all like a complete. Everything we're doing is thinking about lifestyle of what's right.
God's no fool. We're all living at this time. It's a rough time, but He had us live in this time, and we're supposed to be able to handle whatever's coming our way with His help. So food is a terrible thing. There was like this year we went through. You can lose weight. I can gain weight and lose weight almost at will. I mean, it drives my wife nuts, but I'm doing my exercise religiously, and she isn't. She's pretty good though. But if you can control what you're eating, there was, there's been several, but I'll say one lady in particular. She was down in our school a couple of years, and she did lose some weight. She was still heavy, and she said she's eating the right diet and everything. And I said, you're cheating somewhere. You got to be. Like why she's got all this weight hanging on her. And I went, let's go through everything. And she always skipped this one part. And finally, well, I got to go home, because I got to pick up my Coca-Cola. Well, you drink Coca-Cola? Yeah. Well, how many do you have? Well, 6 bottles before bed. And her arthritis was coming, her heavy weight, and she had withdrawal. It took a couple months, and when she went off of that, the weight just flew off. And even some of the doctors, you take them off sugar, and you take them off a lot of the bleached flours and stuff. There's hidden sugars everywhere, but you take them off that, and that was hard to convince a doctor that knows better than everybody, but they were good students. One fellow was 58 years old, and he was hurting so much that he would try anything. And what a gentleman, what a good guy. And it took about a year, and his arthritis left. His joints are all better. That darn sugar gets in there. It's like one of the worst things, unless you got something advanced that's more medical. So many guys, their arthritis left them. I have no arthritis at my age.
Wow. Did you call that the 3 white deaths or something? They used to label them, right?
Yeah.
White sugar, white flour, salt or something.
Well, yeah, they're all bad.
Yeah.
And also for your cardiovascular, this workout's great for your heart.
Right. And I know you got your heart rate up and you kept it, and it was only 10 minutes, and you did everything. And so people should do that every day.
Well, and it's running after you're done. Even while you're back, while we're talking, it probably ran another half hour.
Yeah, like the afterburn or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I like.
Yep.
So, we're in the karate school. You probably taught thousands of kids. Probably passed through guys and people passed through your school.
Yeah, I got that many names in my books. Yeah.
Wow. And you had
most of them I call friends. They're all good people.
Policemen, military people. I mean,
Yeah.
and I know a lot of times, like you said, the military would come down and say, I just want to know 1 or 2 moves. So it's probably better to know just this many really well versus I know all this stuff.
Oh, for sure. That's why when they give you a weapon, that's your weapon. Know it inside out. You take care of it over and over and over. It's not like here, this is weapon, and then this weapon. They add it slowly as you go on, that you start to know other techniques. But you got to know this one as by instinct. That's a big thing.